hope you're all having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Porchlight Letters podcast number 2219, Conversations That Matter. Also, note to self, do not eat pumpkin seeds in the last minute prior to going online. You end up little bits stuck in your teeth and you just want to go and get your floss and clean your teeth. Not a good look on camera. But anyway, conversations that matter. So this is this is episode 4 of our weekly of this week, which is sacred, everyday sacred. Hang on. We're doing volume 18, which is Everyday Sacred, and tonight's episode is Conversations That Matter. It is episode 4 for this week, for volume 18. So first of all, it is the 28th of August. The 28th of August is remembering your pets who have crossed the Rainbow Bridge. I did not know that was a day. It wasn't until I logged on. I was on Facebook very briefly. There's a really cool group that I belong to. It's called hang on, I gotta get the correct name here. One moment, please. It is My Dog is an Asshole. That's the name of the group. It is very active, and Rainbow Bridge Remembrance Day is for pets who have passed away, and that is today, August 28th. So I have remembered 2 of my pets on there. I can't find a picture of my third one. So I remember Gus, the dog of 1001 Faces, who was 23rd of March 2004 to the 6th of September 2017. And of course, my little Zeffy girl, who was the 3rd of March 2019 to the 27th of July 2025. Prior to Gus, we had Bear, who was half German Shepherd and half Doberman. And for some reason, I cannot find a picture of him, so I can't put him on the page yet. But he was November of 1990, I think it was. And he passed on the 17th of September 2004. And we got Gus a couple of months later. So yeah, September's a tough month. I had 2 dogs go in September and a husband and a grandmother. In September, but I have a bunch of birthdays in September. It's almost as bad as December and almost as bad as January, but September's like the 3rd heaviest month for birthdays. Anyway, so if you've had a pet that has passed, today is Rainbow Bridge Remembrance Day. So think of your pets and all the good times that you had with them before they departed this earth to watch over you from beyond. Okay, so conversation. Hang on, there goes those pumpkin seeds again. All right. Some conversations leave footprints on our hearts. They shift our perspective, deepen connection, and remind us that being seen and heard is one of the greatest gifts we can offer each other. These aren't always easy conversations. Sometimes they stretch us, sometimes they heal us, but they always remind us of what matters most. They teach us that conversations can be doorways to understanding, healing, and deeper connection. What we choose to talk about shapes how we experience life and relationships. Listening with presence can matter more than having the perfect response. Oh, I will tell you this. I have screwed up responses so many times. So many times. I couldn't get my tongue just got tired. I couldn't get the words out. I'm tripping over my words. But the fact that I was present and I was actively listening to the person and then talking to them afterwards helped. I didn't have to have the perfect response. Meaningful dialogue invites curiosity, compassion, and openness. There was a number of times that Brad and I had those very open conversations. We called them our 3 a.m. conversations. They started when he was first diagnosed with cancer. We never used to have the problem of laying in bed at night when both of us were awake and just talking. That didn't start happening until he was diagnosed with cancer on the 21st of January 2008. But then after 3 a.m., we call them the 3 a.m. conversations. It could have been 12:30. It could have been 1 o'clock. It could have been 2:29. It didn't matter. It was in the middle of the night. It was dark. And we just knew that each other was awake. And we would lay in bed, turned towards each other so we could see each other, even though it was pitch black in the room. And we would have those meaningful dialogue conversations that were about curiosity, compassion, openness, and everything else. And it enabled us to reach deeper than we'd ever. I mean, we had some really cool conversations and everything else, just about life about dreams and goals and all of that. But when we had those 3 a.m. conversations, those were some of the most meaningful, heartfelt conversations that we ever had. They were just beautiful conversations. And we always felt really good after we'd finished those. And we might only have like a 10-minute conversation or an hour-long conversation, or we might talk for 3 hours. We did that one night too. That was interesting. We both had to get up and go to work the next morning. That was a tough morning getting out of bed. We'd had a 3-hour conversation that in the middle of the night, and we were not firing on all cylinders when we woke up that morning. We were just so open, but it allowed us to be open. It allowed us to be, we had very raw conversations, very raw emotions, but we got everything talked out. But I will tell you this, after we'd had those conversations, we had the best sleep that we'd had in a while. So whenever we had those conversations, we knew, because it got everything out, it reduced the stress, and we were able to just drift off and have a beautiful rest of our night's sleep, and a very, very deep sleep too. It was awesome. It was a very cleansing thing to do. So if you've got somebody that you can have those conversations with, have them. If you're both lying there awake and you know that the other person is awake as well, just use that time to be open, honest, and raw. It is one of the best cleans, and it's one of the things I miss. It's because I have nobody to have those 3 a.m. conversations with anymore. Unless I want to call somebody and wake them up, but that ain't going to happen. So what happens when you create space for honesty and vulnerability in your conversations? You listen not just to reply, but to understand and connect. And that's what we're looking for. When we were having these conversations, we weren't looking for a response from the other person. We just wanted them to acknowledge. We wanted to have that connection with them. We wanted them to understand us. I wanted to, we knew that we didn't have to respond. We just needed to listen, to be present and listen. We didn't have to say anything. It's like when I used to run into the family room and plop myself down on literally plop myself down on the couch, because Gus would come running and after me like, what's going on? What's going on? I'd plop myself down on the couch. He would jump up next to me and sit there like, okay, what are we doing? What's going on? You're all excited. What's happening? Was on his face. And I would turn to Brad, who would be sitting in his recliner, and go, I've had an idea. And you could literally see Brad's eyes rolling. Like, oh crap, here we go again. And meanwhile, Gus is like, what's going on? What are we doing? Where are we going? We're all excited. What's going on? And he would ask me, if he was very bright, he would ask me a question. He was a very smart man. He would ask me a question. He would turn around and say, do you need me to respond or just to listen? And there'd be times I'd sit there and I'd go, well, I've had this idea. Because his thing was, do you need me to just listen so you can get it out of your brain so you can go back and do your creative thing that you're doing back in there? Or do you need me to listen and reply? And I'll be like, sometimes I'll be like, I don't know. But here's my idea. And other times I'll be, I just need to get it out of my brain. It's annoying me. I need to get it out of my brain. And he knew that there's times that I just need to get stuff out of my brain because it is really annoying me. And after reading the Harry Potter books, I really wish I had a Dumbledore's pensive bowl where I could take that memory, or you take the wand and you put the thing here and you pull that memory out or that idea out and you put it into the pensive bowl to make room for other things. And that's what I needed. Crazy as it sounds. But when you're there, you're just there. He was just there to listen. And sometimes he would come back and says, I know you don't want to talk about this, but that's actually and there was a couple of times that's actually a really good idea. What if you did it this way? And I'd be like, huh. And then we would have this conversation going backwards and forwards about this idea that all I wanted to do was get it out of my head. But something in it sparked him to say, hey, that's a really cool idea. I know you just wanted me to listen, but I've got so much I want to say about that. And then he would talk. And we would end up having this conversation going backwards and forwards. And sometimes we would move forward with the idea and other times we didn't. But it was out. It was done. We didn't have to worry about it. You ask better questions when you stay open to perspectives different from your own. And this is what this backwards and forwards enabled us to do. Was that, yes, he had to listen. He didn't have to reply, but sometimes he did because he could see it from a different perspective than what I was seeing it from, which sometimes turned into really good ideas that we actually ended up implementing. Other times it's just sort of like we just had a backwards and forwards conversation. We got the creativity out of the way, and now we could go on and do other things. You walk away from the conversation feeling lighter, seen, and understood. Abso-freaking-lutely. Now the walkaway ones were for during the day when I run into the room and go, I've had an idea. The 3 a.m. conversations, we were able to get a really good night's sleep after a very deep restorative sleep after that, except after the 3-hour one, because that was just too long. I think I had like an hour before the alarm went off. But we were able to then go to sleep and have a very deep restorative sleep for the rest of the night when we had those 3 a.m. conversations. So find somebody to have those conversations with. If it's somebody that you need to bounce ideas off during the day, find those people. If it's your spouse, have those 3 a.m. conversations. Those 3 a.m. conversations are very, very rewarding. I will tell you this. I totally miss my 3 a.m. conversations. Zeffie would lay there and listen and go back to sleep. If I woke up in the middle of the night and I wanted to have a 3 a.m. conversation when Zeffie was here, I'll go, Zeffie, I need to have a conversation. And I actually ended up in the last few months before she passed having a nightlight in the room, just a very light blue nightlight, and it was over on her side of the bed. But it was enough for her to be able to see her chair, because we had to move a chair next to the bed so she could, and it was an armchair, so she could jump on the armchair to get onto the bed. Because the medication that she was on, she couldn't jump as much without having all the lights on blazing. So that was a way for her to be able to see the chair to get up onto the bed if she needed to. But that it was light enough that I could see if she was awake. Like she'd roll her head and like look at me, or put her head up as to say, okay, I'm listening. And then I'd start talking, and then she'd just lay down and go back to sleep. Other nights she would just stay there and just watch me the entire time. She was able to judge the times that she needed to listen and the times that she'd go to sleep, because I just need to get stuff off. And having a 3 a.m. conversation with your a.m. conversation with your dog is a very different experience from having a 3 a.m. conversation with your husband. So how we carry forward: choose your conversation with intention. They shape your relationships and your inner world. Create time and space for deeper dialogue with people who matter most. Notice when silence is just as valuable as speaking. There is gold in the silence. Sometimes you just got to get it out of there and then just sit with it in the silence, and maybe the answers will come to you then, or you're at peace with it. You're able to let it go. Honor the words exchanged by carrying forward the lessons they reveal. For the legacy side, conversations become part of stories we pass down, reminders of the moments we felt known, loved, and understood. They hold the power to ripple far beyond the moment itself. And now we have our questions for you. You can use your where are we? No, that's volume 15. That's okay. I need the original one. That's volume 1. Try this one. Yep, there we go. So you've got the regular Porchlight Reflections journal. This is just no particular topic. It's just a general thing. And then we have 1 and 15. Only because I chose them because I want to do them. And these are just specified by the volumes, by the week. So we've got 16 and 17 we're still working on. And this weekend's a nice long weekend. It's Labor weekend coming up, so we'll be able to fingers crossed, we'll get 16, 17, and 18 done this week and get them uploaded to Amazon and wait for them to go live. So then we'll be back on track again. But we have 4 reflection questions. If you're wondering what the QR code up here is for, that is to join our community on School. It is free to join, and you can come in there and have conversations with us. This is where we're doing our Porchlight conversations, so come have conversations with us in there. We've got quotes of the day. We've got a reflection question of the day. We've got a quote of the day. We put the podcasts in there as well. We have coffee hour every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time. It's just a fun place to be. And there's a whole bunch of other communities that you can go and join. Some are free, some have charges on them. Ours is currently free to join. We will eventually be doing a members only area where it's going to be a very complete safe space for people to come in and talk about what they need to talk about. Okay, so for your reflection questions, we have 4 of them. When was the last time you had a conversation that stayed with you? Number 2, who in your life invites the most meaningful dialogue and why? Number 3, what topics or questions feel most important to explore right now? And number 4, how can you create more space for conversations that truly matter? And in closing tonight, the words we share today can become someone else's reminder that they're not alone. Conversations that matter leave traces of connection long after they end. And with that, we are out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Hey,